are celebrating the solemnity of Christ, the King of the universe. A king that is not limited to a territory, but a king that reigns over all. Not everyone, or when we talk about the idea of a king, especially here in the United States, is not common. But other parts of the world, people who have kings, and when you talk about king, there is a kingdom. So the kingdom is the territory upon which the king legislates. So he is in charge of the particular kingdom. And in that kingdom, there is a throne, only one throne, upon which the king needs to sit upon, or has to sit upon, in order to legislate. And one of the things that every king supposed to provide for the people under his kingdom is peace. Peace. The king is not obligated to make people rich. It's not a political kind of, rulership. But the king has to provide kind of harmony among his people, peace, to be able to solve little problems that relates to relationships, that make sure that people can exist and coexist in harmony. So peace is very, very important in every kingdom. And Jesus is not like every other king of the universe, king of different countries. His own kind of kingship is quite different. And that is why when Pilate, during the passion of Jesus, Pilate asked him, "Is it true you are the king of the Jews?" After many inquiries, Jesus said, "For this I was born. For this I was born. I was born so that I may bring people away from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of light." There are many kingdoms, and people live and coexist and belong to different kingdoms. Like the second reading made it very clear today. Jesus transferred us from the kingdom of darkness, ruled by the devil, a kingdom that is characterized by division, hatred, every kind of evil. But Jesus transferred us from this kingdom into the kingdom of light, characterized by peace, grace, mercy. And that is what this celebration is all about. Do you realize what God has done for you? Do you realize that when you were baptized, you were transferred from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of light? There are two kingdoms. There are many kingdoms. But the kingdom of Christ is quite exceptional. It's a kingdom that is ruled by Jesus himself, because he is the king. But when we look at around the whole world today, we hear the rumors of war, we hear hatred, we hear violence everywhere. Why? And people will say, just because there is no peace. There will not be peace in the world if peace do not exist in the heart. The war that we see today is a reflection of wars going on in the heart of men and women. Because men and women lack peace. When you do not have Christ, when you do not reign, when you do not live in the kingdom of Christ, definitely you will never experience what peace is like. So when people talk about, making a temporary peace, it will not last, because when there is war in the heart, definitely people are going to transfer it in their relationship with others. And that is what Jesus came to do. The king has a throne. He needs a throne from which he will sit upon and be able to administer peace. And the throne that Jesus needs today, in the year 2025, is not a throne made by marbles or gold. He needs a throne that is your heart, my heart. That's all that Jesus is asking for. Can you provide me a space so that I may reign in your own heart? And when Jesus reigns in our hearts, then we will experience peace, because this king always brings the gift of peace with himself. And we see the anxiety that is going on in the life of many people today around the whole world. Conflict around the whole world. Just because men and women lack peace. When people do not truly have Jesus, when people do not truly allow Jesus a space so that he may have his place and reign in our hearts. And when we see in the world today, let's just give example in the one that we live in the United States. The scarcity, the true scarcity that we are really experiencing today is not really the scarcity of food and drink. It's the scarcity of peace. Lack of peace. And sometimes we look for peace in created things, in material things. Peace is not the same as fun. Peace is not the same even as happiness. Peace is only a gift given by a king. As I mentioned, it is the work of the king to provide peace around his kingdom. But when people lack peace, they lack that serenity, they lack that harmony, even to coexist, even to live among others. There is brokenness in relationships, in families. There are members of families that cannot even talk to each other. Even though they may go to church, they lack peace. It's not enough just because we go to mass on Sunday, automatically where we presume that the peace is there. No. You may be a Christian, I'm a Christian, as all we are all Christians, unless Jesus has a place, there will be no peace. Starting from ourselves. Peace is not the same as fun. That people think, even as we enter in the moment of festivity, people look for peace in buying and buying and buying. They swipe the credit card and swipe it. And the more you swipe the credit card, as soon as you step out of the grocery store, you feel only a momentary kind of happiness. And sometimes if you're honest, you say, I don't even need this thing that I'm buying. I'm just buying it in order to fill a void. There is a void in me that is screaming. And I try to fill it with things, stuff. And it does not even provide that. And that which is missing is peace. You can never buy peace in the market. You will not. Not even in the kind of vacation that we go to. There is good in going to vacation, buying things. But the problem is when there is a void. There is a void. There is that deep hunger. There is something missing when Jesus is not there. And in the gospel reading today, they said, save yourself and save us. Jesus does not need any salvation. The salvation is for us. But they thought that they were trying to see what Jesus could do. He could do anything. As long as we open and allow him in. That's why the book of Revelation chapter 3 says, Jesus says, I'm at the door of your heart knocking. If anyone opens, I will come in. There is always an invitation. The King, Jesus, does not force himself into our hearts. He gently knocks. He gently invites us to allow him in. And he says, whoever opens up, I will come in. And I'll bring with me everything that I offer. So the peace today, think about that. Is there anything deep within me? There is a void. I know something is missing, but I can't put my fingers on that. Something is missing, I think, is just because I do not have somebody in my life. It's not about the other person that come into our lives to bring us what God cannot give. No, it's not true. There is that particular spot in each and every one of us. Only God and God alone can fill it. When you fill that spot with anything other than God, you still feel broken. You still feel that something is still truly missing. And that is the celebration today, is an opportunity once again for each and every one of us to make that intentional effort to open our hearts and allow Jesus in. Jesus, I need peace. Do not presume that you have peace. Let me not presume that I do. Because that is an ongoing offer of God. As long as we allow Jesus to be everything, to have his way, then he will come with himself that peace that no other person can offer. No relationship can fill any void. I've seen a lot of people that thought that it was relationship that was missing in their heart. And they go and grab somebody, whoever is available. Now, are you available? Yes. Come into my life. And when that person comes into their life, now they begin to experience crisis because they think that is that person that came into their life that is complicating issue. No, it was not the person that came into your life. It is an unresolved conflict that was still there, that only Jesus can take care of. Instead of inviting Jesus, we thought that it's by inviting other people. I'm not saying that you should not have relationship. I'm not saying that you should not have people. But people without Jesus is a multiple conflict. It's a multiple conflict. So what we ask the King, Jesus, today, is that through the sacrifice of this Mass, as the second reading reminded us, he is the image of the invisible God. Jesus always comes toward us to help us, to assist us in all our struggle, to help us in all our journey, to help us in that internal conflict, the lack of peace, the war that is within us. That is what Jesus comes to calm. Remember, he is the one that calms the storm. And he comes to calm the storm of our life so that we may experience peace once again. And when there is peace within, there will be peace among brothers and sisters. There will be peace in the family. Of course, there will be peace in the community. And then there will be peace in a more broader community and countries among countries. But the war that we experience today indicates of the war inside each and every one of us. And only Jesus can help us with that situation. So we start with ourselves, right? Instead of thinking that the problem is from others, let us ask the Lord today, you and myself, Lord, please come in and give me that peace. Because if I know, if I have that peace that only you can offer, that will be a dawn of a new day. The change that all of us are looking for is not outside, it's inside. And that is where Jesus wants to begin. And he doesn't want to begin with any other person other than you, other than myself. So we ask him today to come in as the King to reign over our lives. Above all, to give us peace. Peace that no one else can give.